Looking at your life now, as far as the changes that you've made, when you come across, you kind of mentioned when those feelings come up again, or when you're feeling a little down again, or whatever it is, what are some steps that you take to kind of pivot yourself, to get yourself back on track?
Hmm. Yeah, it doesn't work all the time,
Yeah.
but often when I feel it coming back, I pause. The first thing to do is for me is to pause and to say, what am I feeling? And to actually breathe, to actually breathe and like feel the feelings in the moment, which doesn't mean you have to go and wallow in them, but to recognize them and ask yourself, is this a feeling that I agree with, that I'm in harmony with in this moment? And if it is, sometimes it's really necessary to cry, and you cry, you need it. And sometimes it's like, no, it's actually not worth it in this very moment or this overwhelm. For me, with overwhelm, that's the one that I'm managing quite well now. I breathe for like mindful breathing for 5 6 times, and that's already enough to find the peace back and to claim my power back again and to say, okay, no, I don't need this overwhelm. Thank you. I've seen you, but you can go now. And it actually works. It sounds silly, but just becoming aware of what's happening inside you, because we live so, that's the other thing I found. Like we live so, we're always busy to actually not feel, to actually, we're not aware what's happening inside of us. Like I wasn't aware that I was so overwhelmed. I knew I couldn't do stuff, but I wasn't sitting down and saying, why? What's happening to me or for me, or however, what's happening? How can I get, how can I transform it in something that's going to help me?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's what I'm doing now. I pause and I breathe and I let myself feel, and then I let it go most of the time. And sometimes it's just like too much. You need a little bit more time, but at least you're aware. And that's what I think, that's what I'm also with the women that I'm coaching. That's the most important process, is to become aware of what you think and of what you feel, because otherwise you can't do anything with it.
Yeah,
Mm,
100%. How do you
mhm.
think this new way of thinking has helped you be a mom?
Oh, I being a mom for me is one of the most important. It's not a job, but things I can do in my life. It's
Yeah.
always been so. So also, even when I wasn't feeling great, I like being a mom was always very important. Being there for my kids was always being really important, but I wasn't always really present. So I've spent a lot of time with them, but being there wasn't always happening. Um, and this now, it's the same thing. Like I have moments where life is just really busy, but I can switch back.
Yeah.
Like I have this, I it's really nice because I'm more present and I'm more with them. So I have this, my littlest one, she's now 4, she's gonna be 5. And I remember the first time we played a game together
Mhm.
that I was present. I was so like I'm gonna go get tears in my eyes. I was so happy that I wasn't thinking about dinner. I wasn't thinking
Yeah.
about the table. I wasn't, and I was. It was the most stupid game with like two animals, the one a big and a small, and the one eats the other one. Like, and for the first time, I've always known it's not about the game, but this first time we were really playing and we were laughing and chatting together, and it. I think we played for an hour and a half, and
Wow.
it was so much fun. And I was like, wow, this is such a big transformation to be there. Like also when we go together and we with the whole family when we go out,
Yeah.
just to be there and not to be thinking about dinner or to be thinking about this has to happen or they have to be in bed or just be there and enjoy the moment and jump in the water, not sit at the like at the side of the pool, but be in the pool with them.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
Yeah, definitely. Can you talk more on that as far as being present? Because I think that there's individuals that can understand the concept of it,
Mhm.
but it's very foreign to them on how to
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah, it's also something you learn. It's not something that just is that it's a it's simple, but it's not easy. Like it's a phrase I use a lot. It's clearing your mind of anything else. And like I said, not thinking about what I have to do afterwards. Like it's letting go, it's finding that peace in yourself and letting go of all the stuff that you have to do, because that's also something we have so many have to do's, and they're actually not true. It's not true. Like we have to stop living our lives by to-do lists. There we make them, but that's one of the first things I did when I started this journey is look at my to-do list that's in my head, because I don't write them down, but and I started to scratch all the things that I wasn't going to do. Because for me, my life, it's always been, I can do this, instead of like, can somebody else do this and I pay them? No, I can do it. I can, like, I would sand the doors, varnish the doors, stuff like that. If I like it, I leave it on my list. And if I don't like it, I scratch it and I give it to somebody else. And it's like, if it's not important, it can wait until we have money to do it. But I'm not going to put my time into it. So for me, creating time and creating this freedom in my head, this free space, has started by scratching all the things I had to do.
Got
And
it.
I started asking myself, what would I love? Would I love to sand the doors? If the answer is yes, I will do it. If the answer is no, I won't do it. The doors will still be there in a year's time. Simple stuff like that. If like, do I want to cook every day? No, I love cooking, but not every day. So maybe once or twice a week we take takeaway, or like my husband cooks a little bit more. So the question I've been asking myself a lot is, would I love it? And in the beginning, I didn't know anymore what I loved. I
Wow.
had no clue. Like
Wow.
I had no clue. I was like, would I love this? I don't know. And now I'm really starting to know what I love and what I don't love. So that's nice.
Yeah.
And I just like I have a client, and whenever she and her family go to dinner, her children who are like teenagers ask her, "Mom, please look at the menu in advance," because she's unable to choose. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now it's getting much better, but she says like, I have the menu in front of me and I sit there for 10 minutes and I don't know what to choose. So these are these patterns that I start recognizing with a lot of women and
Yeah.
men as well, but I think even more women, because we've been conditioned to serve and not to think about ourselves. And I think we have to do both. I think we are there to love. Like for me, joy and love is the most important. But love is giving, but it's also listening to yourself when you want to give, and not
Yeah.
not when you feel like you have to. And then it becomes beautiful. And then when you back into that peace with yourself, the present moment becomes so much easier.
Yeah.
Mm,
Definitely. I agree
that's
with you.
yeah.